So you want to homeschool, but you don't think that you can afford to stay home with your kids to do it. So what do? You need to work. You need to bring in an income. Maybe you currently bring in a full-time income, and you're worried that if you left your job, you wouldn't be able to afford to be home with your kids. Or maybe you are currently a stay-at-home mom, but the budget is so tight and you're wondering if you're going to be able to continue to make it work. So today we're going to talk about how you can afford to homeschool your kids. Hey friends, I'm Jess from the blog siloandsage.com, and here we talk about all things homeschool, homestead, and handmade. And today we're talking about how in the world can you afford to stay home and homeschool your kids. I actually have people ask me that all the time. They really will say, Jess, how can you do it? How can you afford to stay home? How can you afford to homeschool your kids? How does it even work? Now, if you don't know me, if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Jess. Welcome to my space. And I'm a homeschool mom. I have been homeschooling my kids since the beginning. My oldest is 15 and a half. So I have been a stay-at-home mom for nearly 16 years. I left my teaching job so that I could be home with my kids. And now 5 kids later, we are still here. I am homeschooling and I have been home the whole time. But I get asked all the time how we make it work, how it's possible that I can be home and afford to still be home and homeschool my kids and not be out working full-time, bringing in a second income. Now, I am very blessed that my husband has a great full-time job. He brings in a full-time income and he always has our entire marriage. However, we have had some very, very tight years in the past. We have had some years that we really needed to stick to an ultra-tight budget, and it was rough. So I get it. Grocery costs are high, especially if you have teenage boys. Grocery costs are a lot, no matter what inflation is doing. Unexpected things come up. It just costs a lot these days to live your life, right? But I promise you that it is possible for almost anyone to homeschool their kids if they want to. And I'm going to give you some tips on how you can make this happen and how you can actually afford to homeschool. So the first thing is honestly to make changes in your lifestyle and in your budget to make it work. So if there's something that you want badly enough, you're going to make it happen. If you wanted to go on a big vacation, you would save, you would find the deals, you would make it happen, right? If there was a big goal that you had for your house, like a house project that you really wanted to, renovate, or whatever house project people do. We're not really house project people. But if there's something that you needed to do, like you need to get a new water heater, you need to get a new furnace, you would make it happen, right? You would save, you would find a deal, you would find someone who's willing to barter to make it happen, whatever it took so that you could get the things that you needed. Well, if this is really something that you want to do, either you really feel called to homeschool your kids, maybe you feel the Lord has called you to homeschool, or maybe you just feel like this is the best way for your kids to learn. Maybe there's a situation at your kid's school and there's bullying or there's something happening that you think that it's necessary to leave your job and come home and be with your kids. There are options for you, but the question really comes down to how badly do you want it? The thing that most people don't really want to hear is that if you really want to make homeschooling work, you can. But sometimes it does require sacrifice. If you are currently a 2-income household and you are going to go down to a 1-income household, you obviously are not going to be able to spend the same amount of money every month, buy the same caliber of items, or, you're not going to be able to have the same budget anymore. You're going to have to make changes. So you may need to cut some expenses. You may need to have a tighter budget. You may need to sell a car. You may need to downsize. If this is something that you really want, you can make it happen, but you might need to make life changes in order to make it happen. Now, I know that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. I get it. It may not be an easy shift, but if this is something that you feel called to do, or you feel is necessary, or you feel is the best way to educate your kids, wouldn't you do what it takes to make it happen? Now, the next and probably the simplest way to afford to be able to homeschool your kids, because in most cases, you're not getting money from the state unless you are registering with like a charter school and they give you some kind of money for your kids for books or whatever, or if you're using like a virtual school option that might give you some money, most of the time it's all on you. You don't have somebody footing the bill. You are in charge of any supplies or anything that you need to homeschool your kids. So you need to be very frugal with your homeschooling. So this means not buying expensive curriculum, even if it looks really bright and shiny and really looks wonderful because it's all packaged together. Don't buy expensive curriculum, especially brand new. Buy it used. Go on Facebook Marketplace. Go in Facebook groups, even on Craigslist. Craigslist. Do people still buy things on Craigslist? I think so. Buy things used. eBay is also a great place to find used homeschool curricula. But there are so many free or inexpensive options for homeschooling that you don't need to go out and buy a $500, $600, $700 curriculum package if you don't have the finances for it. You can use books as the basis for your curriculum, like we do in our house. We do literature-based unit studies, and most of our curriculum is actually just books, like chapter books and picture books, and you can get most of those at the library. And you can get things free online, free audiobooks, and you can buy books from the thrift store or from Facebook Marketplace, rummage sales. You can buy used books just about anywhere, and you're going to very drastically cut the amount of money that you need to spend. You can ask relatives to gift your kids different supplies, like school supplies for their birthdays or any kind of holiday, Christmas, things like that, so that you don't have to pay the entire cost of everything you might need to buy for the year. Or ask them to gift you something like a membership to a museum, or you can go on free days. There are so many ways to be frugal within your homeschool that you don't have to have a large budget. In fact, you really don't need much to homeschool at all. You could homeschool with a library card, access to the internet, especially with YouTube. You can watch a video about just about anything, and pencil and paper. Now, the next tip for being able to afford homeschooling is to work with a flexible schedule. So maybe you are able to get a job in the evenings while your spouse is home with your kids. Or maybe you are able to homeschool your kids Tuesday through Friday, and you have a friend or a relative, a grandma, mother-in-law, who's able to take your kids all day Monday so that you can work on Mondays, and you maybe work some weekends while your spouse is home. There are so many flexible options for jobs, whether it's that you're working a second or third shift job, you are working on the weekends, or you're working in the morning and your kids are with your spouse. There are so many ways that you can be flexible because you don't have to follow a traditional schedule. It might also be that you work in some online classes for your kids. So they take a class online while you do some work at home, whether it is a traditional job that you're doing, like a traditional 9-to-5 job, but you're able to be a little bit more flexible with your hours, or if it is a job that takes you, one night here, one morning there, and you can be flexible within what you're doing in your homeschool. Now, the next, and honestly one of the best options for most homeschool moms who are staying at home, is that you can bring in an income while you are home homeschooling your kids. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to have a full-time job at all. It might just be that you are able to pick up a few hours of something. You are able to create your own business from home. You're able to do something small at home where you can bring in the amount of money that you need to be able to afford to be home. Now, when you combine all of these tips together, so you combine a change of lifestyle and a change of budget, being frugal within your homeschool and not buying expensive supplies and expensive curriculum, because honestly, you do not need all of the wooden toys that the homeschool accounts with the pretty little shelves and the Montessori things, which these are wonderful, but you don't need them to homeschool your kids. You don't need expensive supplies. You can get nearly everything used or borrowed or from the thrift store, but I'm a big fan of the thrift store. You combine this with your flexible hours or bringing in an income from home. If you combine these things, or some of these things, you may find that this is actually much more affordable than you thought it was. Now, in the last almost 16 years that I have been a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, I have done many different things, and I mean many different things, to bring in income from home. Sometimes they've been as very simple as babysitting in my house, bringing in another kid, babysitting a few days a week to bring in an extra income. Sometimes it's been as big as creating an online business and selling courses on my website. But over the years, I have been able to do, sometimes it was just a small amount of income. It was just enough to buffer us from those hard months where, you have an extra medical bill or you have a car repair that you didn't expect. In those years when we were already stretched really thin with our budget, I was able to bring in enough income to stretch that budget a little bit and give us a little breathing room, give us a little wiggle room, or to pay for some of those things like the curriculum, the supplies, the field trips, the things that we needed or wanted to do. And other years, my income was a little larger. Did some network marketing, brought in a larger income when I was really working my network marketing business. And now with my Silo and Sage business, I make a full-time income from home, but working very, very part-time hours, because I want to be present with my kids. I want to be a present homeschool mom. I don't want to be a full-time work-at-home mom who also homeschools on the side. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's a priority for me, that I want to be present with my kids all day long, and I don't want to have to send them somewhere else during the day or have to put them in online classes, because that's a priority for me. I want to be a full-time homeschooling mom who also works a little bit on the side and brings in an income. Now, I actually put together an entire course just for moms in my exact situation. It's called the Homemaker's Income Maker course, and it helps you to not lose your priority of being a present stay-at-home or homeschooling mom and getting lost in that whole boss mom, like hustle vibe that's out there, because I'm not looking to make 7-figure income, honestly. My husband has a great full-time job. I don't need to make a 7-figure income at this point in my life. Would it be great? Sure. I wouldn't turn it away, but I'm not trying to hustle myself to get there. So I have built a business over time at the pace that fits my family, and I created a course to help you do the same thing. Homemaker's Income Maker teaches you how to use the skills that you have to make money either in person or online, and to grow your social media presence, because I've grown my Instagram to over 90,000 followers organically, never with paid traffic and not with anything sleazy or spammy, but just organically over the years. And I teach you how to do the same. I teach you how to leverage your social media in order to bring in more money. Now, I have a free PDF that you can download that is going to give you a list of 15 ways that you can make money from home while homeschooling your kids. And if you happen to be watching this video when I put it out the very last week of April 2023, I had to think about that for a minute to think about what year it actually was, 2023. If you happen to be watching this when the video comes out, during this week, I am part of a bundle sale called the Call Her Blessed Bundle. Now, this bundle is a biblical motherhood bundle. So this is for Christian moms, and it's content put together by Christian moms. So I gathered up 39 of my favorite online influencers and creators and business owners and authors, and asked them to contribute products to this bundle. And so for 1 week only, we're selling it at a ridiculously low price, and we have an upgrade to the bundle. Now, the bundle contents are all having to do with biblical motherhood. So these are like things like devotionals and scripture cards, but also practical things like planners and meal plans and home management tools, things for spiritual growth and homeschooling and motherhood and health and wellness. There's a workout plan. There are so many tools in this bundle for motherhood. But there's also an upgrade to the bundle that includes my new course. And if you get the entire bundle, you can actually get my course and all of this other stuff. There's over $800 worth of stuff in the bundle, and there's over $300 worth of products in the upgrade. And you can get all of this together for less than half the price of my course on its own. So it's worth it. If you happen to be watching this as this video comes out, you should go to my description, to the link in my description, and check out the bundle, because it's just a great deal. Lots of resources. There's lots of faith-based resources, but there are some resources that are not faith-based. If you are not a person of faith, that you still could gain a lot of value from the things within this bundle and still save a lot of money on these courses and ebooks and PDFs and videos that are within this bundle. But if you're watching this after the fact, after the bundle has left and gone and it's no longer in existence, which would be May 1st, 2023, you can still get the course. You can still get Homemaker's Income Maker. There will be a discount code, because there's always a discount code in my description for any courses. You can use the discount code that is in the description and you can check it out. So you can head over to siloandsage.com/income and you can find out more about the Homemaker's Income course. And I will be back soon with another video. In the meantime, keep cultivating your home, friends. Bye.